what I would say to children is be vulnerable one more time. One more time. Yes, you may not have made the best decision. We are all that way. We make mistakes. You matter enough through your mistakes. I don't care what it is. You speak up. You say something. You stand up for yourself, because we can make sure that we have your back no matter what. I would give anything to have my son back. And if they have to learn, if they have to see James' face, if they have to see my tears, I'm going to make sure that it happens. If it means that I can save your grandchildren, I'm going to do it.
Emotional testimony on Capitol Hill from a mother who lost her son to suicide after she says online predators targeted him in an internet sextortion scheme. James Woods, a high school senior, a standout track star, was inundated with messages from the scammers threatening to release explicit images if he did not pay them. James's story is tragic, but is unfortunately not unique, as kids and teens face countless threats online. And now Australia is taking action, becoming the first country in the world to ban social media for kids under 16. And the historic ban went into effect this morning. The big question is, could we see something like this one day here in the United States? Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany, here with my co-host Harris Faulkner. Also joining us, Martha MacCallum, anchor and executive editor of The Story and co-anchor of Fox News election coverage. And joining us on the couch for the very first time, we are so excited, Erica Kirk, CEO of Turning Point USA. Welcome, Erica. So great to have you. And Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor and former chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Well, let's begin here. This is what Australia's ban does. It impacts close to a dozen of the most popular platforms in the world, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and others. These platforms will now require age verification for access, and if these sites do not comply, they can face up to $33 million in fines. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram, Meta, is pushing back, arguing blanket bans are not the solution, writing in a statement, quote, "There's a better way, legislation that empowers parents to approve app downloads and verify age, that allows families, not the government, to decide which apps teens can access." And despite the pushback from the platforms themselves, lawmakers in the U.S. say it's time that we be looking into this.
I think protecting children is an avenue that should be pursued. I won't rule out some sort of limitation in sales or distribution or use of those devices. And I just tell you, parents and grandparents need a helping hand. This is getting out of hand.
I think we ought to look at what Australia is doing, for example, and requiring access to these social media platforms to not be available to anybody under the age of 16.
There's a big problem of myriad solutions being discussed. And Erica, I saw you yesterday talking about how you limit screen time for your children. It's such a smart decision. And, you know, you're present for them. And I think that is a big part of this, is parenting. But I think we should look as a government at what we can do. And I'm curious, your policy as a mom, you know, I'm a mom to 3 young children, and I've met with other moms, and we've talked about how can we protect our kids. What is your policy going to be for your kids as they grow up?
I want them to have a childhood. I want them to not be thinking, oh, does my outfit not match for my social post? Do I have to keep taking different photos for people to think I'm cute? My daughter is the love of my life. My son is my dreamboat. They are perfect in my eyes. Yes, we're human. I'm not going down that route. I'm saying let them enjoy being a child. They have plenty of time in their life to get attacks and insults. And yes, they will grow up to have a spine of steel, but they are babies. Let them be able to be poured into, loved on. So when they do get into the world, they're like, you know what? You can call me whatever you want. It doesn't impact me because I know who I am and whose I am.
Yeah, it seems like, just sticking with you for a moment, for our generation, you know, parents before us feared screens, and it seems like we have a new fear, and it's social media and it's AI. And I think it's so important, and I know we'll get to your book, but Sundays, grounding your children in church. You know, my little son, he just recognizes the Holy Spirit and lifts his hand in our Pentecostal church.
I love it.
And grounding that faith in them, I think, is the real answer.
It is. And it's also making sure that they know that everyone will have an opinion, but whose true opinion matters. Is it your family's? Is it the Lord's? There will always be chatter about you, but please protect our kids. They are the greatest gift and blessing from the Lord. Protect them. Protect them.
And I think they're asking for that protection, Harris. When you look at the stats, 93% of U.S. teens use social media. But here's the interesting part to me. Look at this. 48% say it has a negative effect.
Well,
so
yeah.
nearly 100% using and half recognize it's bad.
Well, that's because when you look statistically as well, the majority of those posts that are negative are targeted to people who are defenseless in that sense. Many of them are young. So, I mean, they're feeling that way because it's meant to hit them that way. This was a stat that I learned last hour from Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, now running for governor. This blew my mind. So there is a push on the Hill against anything that they pass. 99-1 out of the Senate. It could have gone a ban already. We could have beaten Australia in a different form. It's a GOP plan putting, people first, the children first. But $20 million was spent by Meta alone. One lobbyist for every 6 lawmaker, for every 6 lawmakers, one lobbyist messaging against any kind of a ban to protect our kids. So look, parents, and you put it beautifully, of course we have a role to play, and our faith is part of that too. But we can't do this alone, because the minute they're outside our threshold, they have our values in them. But the world wants to do what that 48% does. They want to rip them of their positivity and their self-love and give them the disease, the destruction of constant comparison.
You're right. You're right.
So we need help.
No, and Charlie would always say, it's the one instance where you are called the user.
Yeah.
And they view you as the user.
That's
And
right.
exactly to that point, here is what Meta internally was saying about their own product. Look at this. It was from a lawsuit, Martha. They did not mince words. They said, IG is a drug, Instagram. We're basically pushers. So, yeah, users, and then now we have pushers. Teens are hooked despite how it makes them feel. Instagram is addictive, and time spent on the platform is having a negative impact on mental health. That's Meta researchers.
So this really reminds me of when you look back at what happened with the tobacco companies, the biggest companies in America at that time, right? Everyone was smoking. I have always felt since the beginning of cell phones and smartphones that they are the cigarettes, right? Because everyone grabs their phone when they're nervous. Everyone grabs their phone and scrolls. In the old days, people used to grab a cigarette when they needed something in their hands, okay? Back then, they asked each of these 7 CEOs of basically the biggest companies in America to stand up in front of Congress, and each one of these CEOs stood up, one after the other, and said, nicotine is not addictive. Nicotine is not addictive down the line, right? And then we watch these social media CEOs stand up and say, they understand how important the semantics are, so they say there's no clear evidence that our product is addictive. From these filings, we know that they know that this is addictive. There has to be a major reckoning, and it's exactly what you talked about, Harris, with Marsha Blackburn. The lobbying, the money that is keeping people in your former job, Jason, from doing what they know is the right thing. They must stand up to these companies because they are killing our kids. 36 young men, 36 boys.
Awful.
Think about the ripple effect of those families lost their lives because of sextortion, and there are so many other issues out there.
And the young women, the internal data from Meta that have committed suicide, gone to depression, eating disorders because of the influence of these platforms. Jason, you are the perfect person to come to. You've been on the Hill. And on one side, you have Katie Britt and Lindsey Graham, and they're saying, let's do something. And then I see on the other side, Dick Durbin, and I see voices like Rahm Emanuel. There seemed to be a bipartisan recognition. Can they come up with a bipartisan solution?
I would hope so, but they're throwing a lot of money at lawmakers, and lawmakers like the money. They certainly do. Those stats are amazing. Statistically, you also have, on average, 4 hours a day these kids are spending.
A lot.
And that is an absurd amount. A couple things I wish they would do, in addition to putting that 16-year-old ban in place. I like what Europe was trying to do with the right to be forgotten. I think you make mistakes when you're young. When you're 14, you're 15. The law allows them to engage in. Where else can you sign a contract when you're 13 years old and that lives with you? They will monetize your likeness for the rest of your life. Where is the compensation? There's nowhere else in contract law that allows you to continue to have that relationship. If you want to be out of it, you want to have the right to be forgotten, they should have to erase you, because there's no consideration going the other way. And the other thing I'm deeply concerned about are the deep fakes and artificial intelligence. If you think it's bad now, just wait, because and President Trump highlighted this. He brought the woman it was a deep fake. and she, put her head on some other body, and then everybody in the school saw her naked, but it wasn't her. How do you get out of that? You have to have consequences, and you have to make changes.
Yeah.
And Congress better have the political guts to do it, because I think
it's
America's
courage.
asking.
It's courage.
It is. And our First Lady, someone who's had courage, she's addressed the deep fakes. She's addressing AI and what to do about it as the next frontier. So I'm glad there's a lot of thought being poured into it, because something must be done.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.